If you're new to the City Girl Savings community, then I need you to know that while I may be a finance coach and the founder of City Girl Savings, I was an avid spender before City Girl Savings came to be. I put myself in positions where shifting from a spending mindset to a savings mindset was an absolute necessity. That means I know a thing or two about being an overspender. I also know a thing or two about being a successful saver. So when it comes to shifting from a spending mindset to a savings mindset, my guidance speaks volumes because I've been there. In this episode, I'm sharing how to make the shift from spender to saver. If you struggle with spending, you don't want to miss this episode. Hey there, I'm Rhea Reeves, and over a decade ago, I turned my life around through budgeting. I went from being an overspender deep in credit card debt to being the founder and full-time money coach of City Girl Savings. Now, I help women work towards their dream life and tap into their financial power one budget at a time. I fully believe you can live a life you love with a budget, and I'm living proof. The weekly City Girl Savings podcast focuses on the intersection of money and the City Girl lifestyle. Join me every week along with some special guests as I share my experiences, advice, and guidance on navigating life and money as an experience-loving millennial. Now, if you want to hear my story about shifting from a spender to a saver, I definitely want you to check out City Girl Savings podcast episode number 1, and I will make sure to link to it in the show notes. I basically break down my entire financial journey from early, way before City Girl Savings days to essentially where I was at the time I recorded that episode. So again, I will link to that in the show notes. So the first thing I need you to know and understand when making the shift from spender to saver is do not wait for rock bottom. If there is one tip you need to take into consideration the most, it's this one. Do not wait for rock bottom. Do not wait for worst case scenario. Do not wait for the worst thing to happen before you make a change. Don't wait until you're almost evicted like I was. Don't wait until you have nothing in the bank. Don't wait until you're laid off. Don't wait for rock bottom to make that change you need to make, to feel that motivation you need to feel to make a change. Start making the necessary shifts as soon as you possibly can, but at least before worst case scenario situations. Not only will this save you time and money, but it will also prevent you from having the worst things actually happen. And that's pretty powerful. Yeah, saving time and saving money is wonderful, obviously, but protecting our mental peace is also wonderful and should be considered. So if you have the awareness now to start making changes, even if they're small changes, I want you to start doing so. Start looking at your bank account every day, create a budget, save $25 a paycheck. These small changes will help you transform from that spender's mindset to a saver's mindset. And I do want to just add that it's so easy to coast and relax, so to speak, when things are smooth. But that's the perfect time to actually work on making sure things stay smooth. Be proactive instead of reactive, because that's a much better place to be in with your money. And if you can learn that without having to react to something unexpected, you'll be much better off. The next thing you need to do is get clear on why this shift is necessary. Why is it so important for you to shift from a spender to a saver? Now, when you hit rock bottom, it's pretty clear why shifting your mindset and lifestyle is necessary. You have no choice. And if you're taking my advice and making changes before you hit rock bottom, I want you to get clear on why. Why do you need to make this shift? Why do you want to be more of a saver instead of a spender? I think having your why determined ahead of time helps to keep you motivated when things get rough, when the temptation gets high. And trust me, things will get rough. The temptation will get high. It's natural. There will be times where you want to say, screw it, and just make an impulse purchase that you shouldn't make. And getting clear on your why may just help you return that purchase or even avoid that purchase after you've mentally checked yourself. So over time, it will get easier to say no to things that don't help get you closer to your goals or get you closer to that why. The hardest part is always the beginning, but the sooner you establish why this is important to you, why you need to make this shift, you can ingrain that why in your mind and always refer back to it when the temptation gets high. And I think the same theory applies to goals, right? I mean, a lot of times we hear put why behind your goals because that why is going to make you motivated to keep working to reach your goals. So the same thing kind of happens right here. Why do you want to be more of a saver than a spender? And make sure it's a why that's impactful for you. Make sure it's not because your parents told you to, or your partner tells you that's what you need to do before you guys can take the next step, or society. Like, make sure it's something that is specific to you, personal to you. That why will make it that much more impactful, number one, but number two, will also help you keep that promise to yourself and keep that why to yourself and allow you to remember that this is worth working towards. Another thing you can do to make this mindset shift from spender to saver is think about all of the ways your life in the present, so your life right now, your situation right now, could be better with a savings. Now, if you've been in the City Girl Savings community a while, you know that I'm a huge advocate for visualization to help you reach your goals. I think picturing yourself achieving the things you want, picturing yourself having the life you want, plays a big role in you working towards those things. Picturing myself obtaining the things I've wanted most in life has greatly impacted how I go after my goals and has helped me see that, hey, it is possible. If I can see it in my mind, I can make it happen in reality. So with that said, how much better would you feel about your situation right now if you had money in a savings account or money in investments or money in your checking? Just if you had money because you didn't spend it. Think about how much stress, fear, and anxiety having a beefed up savings account would save you. There's no denying the fact that having money in your savings account or just spread across different accounts would make anyone's life better. Even if you make good money, having reserves can be such an empowering thing. So as you make this shift from a spending mindset to a savings mindset, focus on how much better your life would be if you actually had money in savings, if you actually kept money in savings and didn't spend it. As you start to realize the power of having a savings account that's funded regularly and having the savings account that gets you out of tough situations, you will prioritize building it up. And you'll eventually get to a place where you won't touch it unless it's absolutely necessary. One kind of trend I see with my clients is we work to build up their emergency fund and life happens, things come up, and they don't want to touch it. They're like, no, I love it, seeing it in my account. And I have to remind them that it's there for you to get yourself out of a bind. So that's something that we work towards, but that's a really good place to be. So I know I mentioned, visualization is an important part of this tip here. So make sure you check out City Girl Savings Podcast episode number 11, The Power of Visualization, to help you reach your goals. For more insights and tactics for using visualization, I'll be sure to link to it in the show notes. Are you loving this episode so far? Well, the money and life level up conversations never end in the City Girl Savings community. Visit citygirlsavings.com for instant access to resources that help you budget, level up your money mindset, and so much more. And make sure you stay up to date with CGS by following us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at City Girl Savings. The next thing you can do that will help you make this mindset shift from spender to saver is to learn to value security over material things. for me, once I started prioritizing security and money in the bank and stability over the accumulation of things I just truly didn't need, my mindset started to adjust. And once my mindset started to adjust, my actions adjusted accordingly. I stopped spending money on clothes and shoes and purses and just silly stuff that brought me joy in the moment, but really didn't make me happy. And I started appreciating having money in the bank. So yes, I've been there. I know how fun it is to buy things in the moment. Like that spender's high is real, but it's not fun to look at an empty bank account the next day, right? It's not fun to see an accumulating credit card bill because you're so focused on this spender's high in the moment that really doesn't last. I know for me, I would have so much fun buying new clothes and I wouldn't even wear them. I would almost create scenarios in my head like, oh, I could wear this going to a museum, or, oh, I would wear this to a gallery. Rarely went to museums, rarely went to galleries. And when I did, I surely didn't wear those items. So my point is to start understanding that security and stability is more exciting and enticing than material things. Over time, for me too, I also got clear on things that were worth spending money on. And those things include travel. So let me just make this clear. Security, stability, that will always come first for me. But I know if I have extras or if I work hard, spending my money on travel is something that gives me that great feeling that actually lasts. It's not a temporary high. It is me making memories and having experiences and doing it with people I care about. And I've come to realize that spending my money on that is absolutely worth it. So again, while security will always come first, you can factor in the things you love as well. And I think this probably comes just with experience and time and practice and repetition. But the sooner you can learn to value security over material things, the sooner you'll notice your financial decisions align with getting you to a place of financial security. So start having those conversations with yourself right now. Ask yourself if you value security. Do you value security right now? And if you don't, or you're not sure, is it because you feel secure from someone or something else? So maybe your parents, your partner, an inheritance. And what would happen if that or they or it went away? Would you still feel the same? So have those conversations with yourself to kind of pulse check where you're at right now and identify the changes that you need to start making in your thoughts to get you to a place where you're actually valuing security over the accumulation of material things. The next thing you can do is let growing bank account balances fuel you, motivate you, inspire you. When your bank account balances are always low, you never know how good it feels to have large amounts of money. You don't know what it feels like when large amounts of money are in your bank accounts. So the next time you get a bonus, a tax refund, or some other financial windfall, keep that money in your account as long as possible and look at it daily. Like see that money in your account so you know, okay, I have had this amount of money in my account before. I can definitely do it again. That's visualization at its finest because you've actually seen it. Your brain tells you, hey, we've made this happen before. We can do it again. So, once you have actually had large amounts of money in your bank account, again, you can duplicate that. You can make it happen again. So let those big bank account balances fuel you to keep making more, even if it is short-lived, even if you do get this financial windfall and you already have a game plan for it, or it's coming in and then it quickly goes out. Just try to savor that money in your account as long as possible so that you can get yourself excited by reaching it again. You will get to a place where having your accounts below a certain threshold just isn't going to be worth it. Therefore, your spending will be non-existent when your account actually reaches that threshold. But that can only happen when you're used to functioning with more money. So if you're always used to functioning with minimal or very low account balances, you're never going to reach that threshold because this is just your norm. So it will take some upfront work to make sure that you can actually accumulate the funds you need in your checking or savings accounts and keep it there and establish that threshold. But as you learn to let growing bank account balances fuel you to keep going and keep accumulating, it will actually trickle into other areas as well. So next, shrinking debt balances will fuel you. And then compounding interest on investment accounts will fuel you. So it's really a compounding effect that this can have on you. So establish what you need to establish right now to start accumulating more in your bank checking savings accounts, and then let that motivation fuel you into other areas of your finances. So this next tip is really an important one. And it's understanding that just because you have a saver's mindset, just because you consider yourself more of a saver than a spender, doesn't mean you don't get to spend your money on things you enjoy. I know I touched on this a little bit, but I want to spend some more time here because it's so important. Just because you consider yourself a saver, just because you are a saver, doesn't mean you don't get to spend or that you never get to spend. That's not true. It just means you value saving over spending. And when you do spend, it's intentional. It's on things that truly bring you joy and happiness or help others, help yourself. So you are capable of planning for those purchases, planning for your discretionary purchases. You budget for fun spending. You save for the things that you love and enjoy. Never once will you hear me say that you cannot spend. I consider myself a saver who spends intentionally, and you can too. So just know that because you make this shift from spender to saver does not mean that you never can spend your money again. That's just not true. The final tip I have for you for making this mindset shift from spender to saver is to know that you are in control of your thoughts and actions. At the end of the day, no one is holding you at gunpoint, making you swipe your credit card. It is 100% in your control. And while things like bills and normal living expenses can't always be helped, you always have the choice. You can choose how you spend your money, and you can choose how you think about how you spend your money. So if you want to shift from a spending mindset to a savings mindset, take ownership. Take accountability. Know that you call the shots with your thoughts and actions around money and in any area of life. If you don't want to be a materialistic shopper, don't be. And I know this is very simple in theory and much harder in execution. I know that. But you have to first understand that you are in control. So you need to know that you hold the power of your thoughts and actions. And I want you to yield that power accordingly. You must be willing to look inside yourself, which isn't always easy. It's rough. It is definitely rough. But if you can look inside yourself and acknowledge things that you may not like, not only will it help your financial decisions, but it will also improve your overall self-awareness and the love you have for yourself. So making the mindset shift from spender to saver is possible for anyone, especially if they are willing to take a look at the mirror and go deep with what they see. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Thank you so much for letting me be the money coach in your ear today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the City Girl Savings Podcast and you feel empowered and motivated to take the next step in the journey to your dream life. Remember, if someone like me, a millennial who loves to travel, new experiences, and iced coffees can live a life they love on a budget, you can too.